Hello, everyone. This is Bobbin Threadbare, and welcome back to the Human Revolution. Alright, we just cleared out DRB territory, and you can see that we're pretty much where we left off. Interesting that you can spot the twin towers of Seraph Industries in the background there. Interesting display they've got. Also, yeah, it looks like I have to take back what I said about the one liquor store looking pretty interesting. 'Cause when you put two of them right next to each other, that's kind of lazy.
You watched the hockey game last night? Wings against the Habs? What a massacre. If our guys play like that for the rest of the season, we can kiss the playoffs goodbye.
You're a very lucky man to be able to afford all those augmentations.
I think that cop was checking her out.
And the neuropazine. According to Eliza, VersaLife is making billions on that stuff. It helps to have a captive consumer base, I suppose.
Nice night for a walk. But you might want to stay on a derelict road.
Okay, yeah, now there's four of them. On the same block.
What's all the fuss about this augmentation technology? It's my business what I do with my body, no one else's.
I'll bet you never have trouble finding a seat on the bus, do you? Hey, no offense, man. Just enjoying the sights.
The hell does that even mean?
The biomod industry is going to tear this city apart, mark my words. Not everyone can afford augments, and those who can't are going to find themselves on the streets before they know it.
Nope, still don't need any beer.
That's a pretty lame come on, hun. Especially since I just know this humidity is ruining my hair.
How?
Whatever.
How could it ruin that hair? It's Lego hair. You just snapped it on.
Oh, let me guess, you got nothing to spare. That's alright, man. We all got our crosses to bear. Hey, the way this city is now, I'd rather be on the streets than to be you.
Beat it, loser. Just leave me alone.
Friendly bunch. Alright, I can get over here thanks to Super Jump, and that's a dead guy. Apparently he had a botched surgery. Back alley surgery, no less. Wonder if that was the casing or if that was just some sort of thing there. I don't know.
Damn Boggs. Those power-hungry bastards. Every last one of them. They're nothing but tin-plated despots in the making.
Do I know you? Because I could swear I'd seen you around someplace. Oh, wait a sec. You're that dude. Your face was in the papers, got popped in that attack on Seraph Industries 6 months ago. Whoa. Pretty radical what happened.
What the fuck you looking at? Because I know it ain't my charming good looks. Get the fuck out of here before I start blasting, kid. You feel me?
Ooh, another beer. Also, end of the line here. It's nice that you can see the cars going past, though. Along with the city tram. But I actually have a use for this box here. It's because of what's behind this door. Electricity. See, you can't touch that without getting damaged, unless you have the right AUG, which I of course have. But there is an alternative. Boxes. Collect one, drop it in front of you, move forward, and so on, and I don't have to do that, so I'm not going to. But yeah, you would have to, because the breaker box is in between the two electricity piles there. Oh hey, O'Malley.
Yes. May I help you?
Actually, I've been told by a mutual acquaintance that it might be the other way around.
Were you followed?
Let's stick to the script.
I'm a professional. I know how things work. So if we can just skip Cloak and Dagger 101.
Well, You certainly look the part. Now let's see how well you can play it.
So what is it you need?
Straight to business, a rare quality these days. Tell me, are you familiar with local gangs?
More than enough to get by.
Perfect. Now I warn you, this is not the cleanest of work, but your efforts will be well compensated. An associate of mine will leave a package for you in an alley on Grand River Road. You will retrieve this package and then use it to deal with a problem of mine. Permanently.
Who's the target?
Someone who won't be missed, I assure you. A ganger that goes by the name Double T. Hangs around in an apartment near Earl's Court. It's not likely that he'll be alone, just as it's not likely the people keeping him company will be of the pleasant sort. You can't miss him. He's got prominent and rather tasteless augmentations to his face and arms.
You're telling me you went through all this trouble to hire me, just so I can eliminate a banger?
That would be a tad overkill, I admit. No, eliminating the target with the weapon provided to you is only the first part of your assignment. Once you've dealt with Double T, I need you to sneak into Derelict Row and plant the murder weapon among the Baller's weapon stash. Unnoticed.
Kill a member of the Motor City Bangers, then plant the murder weapon in the rival gang's weapon stash. You're trying to start a war.
Hopefully.
You don't sound like a cop.
You, on the other hand, are starting to sound exactly like one. I strongly suggest you simply get on with the program.
I don't understand what you're getting out of this. It sounds to me like you're just the middleman for someone else.
You think too much, my friend. This could prove to be a source of great personal discomfort for you in the near future.
So what's the plan? You make a call and rat one of the bangers out, then the DRBs retaliate and so on and so forth until they wipe themselves out?
Pretty much.
What about innocent casualties? These thugs aren't exactly expert marksmen, and it's pretty hard to aim from the window of a moving car. What could be worth such a risk?
I won't discuss my motives with you. I hired you to do a job. Just do it.
I need a more precise location on the target.
There's a small back alley known to the locals as Earl's Court. You can access Double T's building using the fire escape. He's in one of the apartments on the 4th floor.
So what is it I'm picking up, and where is it exactly?
There's a rather luxurious apartment complex on Grand River Road. In front of it, on the other side of the street, you'll see a door that leads to a maintenance corridor. In the first corner of that corridor, you will find a crossbow hidden amongst the trash and debris. Use it to kill Double T.
Seems pretty straightforward, but we can get some money out of him if we choose wisely. Now, this guy is an asshole, so...
You obviously want this done quick and done well. I respect that. All I'm asking for is half the payment in advance as a gesture of goodwill. In my line of work, you simply can't afford to be careless.
You've got guts, I'll give you that. You've got yourself a deal.
Now, I believe that you can actually complete the mission the way he suggests. And if you do too many things in his direction, like killing the ganger instead of knocking him out, although...
I'd advise you to stay away from the DRB gang if you can.
And this is how you can get over... Ooh.
Just stay in the brightly lit streets and you'll be fine.
Yeah, this is how you can get over into the back alleys without, well, avoiding the electricity there. But anyway, this is one that secure locker the one guy was telling us about. I have the code, but he was not a dick to me, so I've decided I'll do him a favor. Hack these manually.
Access granted.
And in the process, I can show you that there is a second win condition. Infect the attacking node, and not only do you win, but you also get everything in every single data store, whether you hacked it or not. But yeah, relevant data here, by the way, is that everybody's corpses were found completely charred up, and their necks were broken, oddly enough, before they died. Or rather, before they were burned. And also, there was this one guy who'd seen it all, one of the few survivors, but suddenly he couldn't remember anything in between interrogation sessions. And you see all this was a level 3 hack. That's why it would be important to, get the information. And here's what I was talking about.
Access granted.
And I get the money in the data store anyway. One last bit about Megan Reed being on the cusp of a new evolution in augmentation design. And also a bracelet.
Interactive streaming. We'll stream you through and answer your questions as best we can, but don't get your panties in a bunch if you get hung up on. If we detect even the slightest suspicious fluctuation in signal, we have to shut you down. The World Order and their team of expert hackers could be trying to track us.
I know you're spying on us, studying us. We're not lab rats. We're human beings, man. Human beings.
That, sir, actually thinks augmentation is going to help mankind. There are people in this city can't afford to eat. You ask me, Seraph Industries should be trying to help in ways that really make a difference.
People been saying Augs equal progress. Look at me. I've been progress right out into the street. Man, this city went to shit when the oil industry tanked. Cars falls right behind.
By the way, the world oil industry crashed in 2015. I don't remember when that happened. Yeah, we just passed a door. That's one of the back ways into the police station. This is another one. Gotta be careful, though, because if you go in through any means aside from the door, the cops will not take kindly to your appearance. Interesting that you can jump over here. Not sure you can survive without the Icarus AUG, though. But yes, this is the last and easiest way of getting down into the back alleys behind the police station. The sewers. It's not connected to the other area.
I ain't no guinea pig.
That,
ain't no way I was getting Augs just to keep my job. I ain't no guinea pig.
Oh, let me guess, you got nothing to spare.
Man, nothing new.
We all got our crosses to bear.
But yeah, like I was saying, this isn't connected to that other sewer system in the DRB gang territory. But it is connected to a manhole on the other side of the building. By the way, I may have mentioned this, but these happen to be territorial gangers. Like, I think you can just rush by them, potentially. But, well, this is just safer for me. Taking them out of the equation, you know. I mean, you can definitely sneak by these guys, if nothing else. There's enough nooks and crannies and hidey holes everywhere. Looking at each other, that's always a little dangerous. Oh, there he goes. Gotta be careful here, though. Don't want to attract too much attention. And there we go. Glad I kept this around. Oh crap, oh crap, 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 crap. Oh good, he's not dead. Yeah, falling into the electrified water, that'll kill you. Oh right, it's gone. But yeah, that box over there, that conceals the way of sneaking through. But this is your biggest reward, right here. The ability to walk into this area here and climb up this ladder here. This keypad and that door are the best stealth way into the police station. it drops you off immediately next to your main objective. Like, you basically have to pass nobody else to get there. Like 1 or 2 people at most. Of course, you do miss out on all of the side objectives.
Oh, let me guess, you got nothing to spare.
Got any credits?
That's alright, man. We all gotta
I'm
cross
not
this
gonna
to
lie
bear.
to you. I'm gonna use them to buy booze. You wouldn't begrudge a man a drink, would you?
Augmenters have desecrated their own flesh. How can you even consider yourselves human anymore? I almost feel sorry for you.
Why do some people feel they can just walk up to anyone and start yapping? Shove off, mister. Don't you understand English? I said, get lost.
I don't like either of you two. Well, spook the locals again. Oh well. So this is the other manhole I was telling you about. It's got this alleyway here. And this was the side exit from the crawling route from the south to the north end. Anything behind here? Nope.
Hey, you look like the kind of guy who'd know how to lay his hands on some explosives. You know, hush hush. I heard the mob is stashing stuff down in the sewers. It's like that story, the cask of armadillo, or whatever. You know, they seal it up in the walls, man. You ever hear that shit?
Apparently I can't access.
Fucking Motor City bangers. Who they think they are? The sewers was our turf, the whole sewers. Except near the cop shop. Blues made sure nobody hung around there. There was an entrance led directly to the precinct basement. Don't make much sense to me, but it was pretty secured. Maybe they were smuggling shit in there. Crooked bastards.
Anyway, so that one guy, that reminded me. I can probably find stuff hidden behind the walls down here. Oh, like here. What have we got? Oh, pistols. Machine pistols.
Jesus Christ, this isn't happening.
No explosives, though. Oh well. Maybe there's more. Oh, and it turns out that there is. Oh, files. Interesting. Apparently these are where the Detroit Police Department stashes their cold cases. Sealed records indeed. Interesting. That most wanted thing poster is kind of generic, but oh, what have we got here? The patrol floor passwords. All of them. I'm pretty sure the majority of those are references, by the way. Feel free to look those up and explain what exactly they're referencing.
Oh, please. You can't actually believe the Purity First are freedom fighters.
Not yet. But just wait until the machine men take over.
You watch too many movies.
Seriously, dude. Bill Taggart and Purity First are the only ones who've got the guts to defend us against those odds.
Interesting that you include those two in the same sentence.
You listen to too much left-wing radio.
Don't mind my friend. He's just paranoid. You look like a nice enough dude.
What are you looking at, pal? Scanning me with those metal eyes of yours? That's right. You think I wouldn't notice with those shades you're wearing? But I can spot an AUG a mile away.
Well, that in the hands.
Why did you do it? You were beautiful just the way you were. You poor man.
But what if his leg was already off, though?
What's all the fuss about this augmentation technology? It's my business what I do with my body. No one else's.
2027 and we're still arguing about the damn environment. When I was a kid, it was the big news. Global warming, rising oceans. It was already too late back then. Does Hugh Darrow really believe his Pangaea project is going to reverse all the damage we've done to the planet? He may be a genius, but this time he's wrong.
So what else have we got around the front of the police building? I won't be going inside it in this video. That'll be entirely the next one.
Hey, Jensen. Long time no see. You're not here to see Wayne Haas, are you? He's a desk sergeant on duty right now. He's still complaining about all the forces stacked against him. Yelling at people, making excuses. Worse since he got kicked off of SWAT because of the pill problem. He, blames you for it all, you know?
I'd advise you to stay away from the DRB gang if you can.
Aaron Cox took my license, and I'm tempted to break in and take it back. And I know just how to do it, too. It'd be easy. Back alley, up the fire escape, bypass the back door lock, and then... who am I kidding? There's no fighting the law.
You ever get the feeling you're being watched? I don't know. All these cameras and chips and stuff everywhere. How do you know they're not tracking you or something? Fear Big Brother, man.
No trouble tonight, right? Just give me an excuse.
I don't mean to judge, but I think the people who choose to augment themselves are rejecting their own humanity. They don't understand that it's our limitations that make us human.
That guy again. Pretty sure you do mean to judge there, buddy. Anyway, this is the other way to the south end of the Detroit hub.
I love Detroit. There's no place like it.
It's through the metro station.
Nice jacket. Is that a high man? In leather? I wish my boyfriend had some of your class.
What's up, dude? You lost or something? If you wait for the tram, you shit out of luck. It don't stop at this station once the sun goes down.
Oh, it's a tram, my mistake. Fortunately, I approached these guys from the wrong angle. Otherwise, they'd have been talking about...
Is there a problem, sir? The city's a little quieter now that the limb protest is broken up.
I bet you weren't at the limb demonstration today, were you? A bunch of Humanity Front members protested people's right to enhance their minds and bodies. Then the news broke about the hostage situation at Sarif Industries, and the whole thing kind of got sidetracked.
Those first two guys would have been talking about who's hotter between Eliza Cassan or that one pop singer.
I don't mean to judge, but I think the people who choose to augment themselves are rejecting their own humanity.
Here in Detroit. What a great man. I know some people question his motivation, but I think he's only looking out for the little people. Look, companies want profits now. They don't care about the effects their products might have in 10, 20 years. I know my history. Just look at the tobacco industry.
You meet all types in this city.
Usually stayed in bed this morning. Missed the bus home and the subway shut down. I swear if it isn't one thing, it's another.
2027 and we're still arguing about the damn environment. When I was a kid, it was the big news.
What's all the fuss about this augmentation
You're being watched.
There's even a liquor store in the station.
Hey, pal, I can see you've had some work done, and I'm wondering, what do you think about this augmentation debate? Looks to me like a typical power grab. Every time somebody comes up with a new idea, somebody else will want to criticize it, regulate it, or ban it completely. But really, they want to control it.
Have you seen the neuro enhancements they're coming up with these days? How far are they gonna go? It's only a matter of time before we're using our own wings to fly.
Og, purist. I say live and let laugh.
I don't know, having wings would be pretty damn sweet.
I don't mean to judge, but I think
My
the
ride
people
was
who
supposed
choose
to be
to
here
augment
15 minutes
themselves
ago.
are rejecting.
Alright, and here we are back at the south end of town. Nothing much to do here, aside from selling off some junk at the weapons store.
What's...
But you don't need to see me doing that. Instead, let me just explain that I am going to be replacing the shotgun with the Hypostim. Now, the nice thing about the Hypostim is that it restores your health up to 150. No matter where you start, that is where you end. I noticed that I somehow managed to forget to hack the safe here, but fortunately, you know, the plot brought me back. The side plot. And apparently, The reason he wants to start a gang war is because one of the gangs is encroaching too closely on FEMA territory. Interesting. Oh crap, wait, there's a middle.
Access granted.
Damn it. Whoops. Oh well. So yeah, that's another thing. Weapon shipment. Package of drugs. Well, let's take a look at both of these things now. Megan Reed's bracelet. Illegal drugs. But yeah, you can totally sabotage the side quest from Jenny Alexander's point of view. Get caught in DBRB territory. Conduct the assassination as the guy requests. Hey, there's more people in here now. Go figure. Well, luckily, that's what concussion grenades are for. Get both of you at once. Oh, you're still too disoriented to do anything about it. Now, that's the gang leader. But he's also got a couple of friends out here. Luckily, I've got another friend myself. I said I've got another friend myself. There we go. Every once in a while, things get a little weird. Or a lot weird. As the case may be. Yeah, good thing I punched a hole through that wall there, huh? So anyway, this is the corner he was talking about. Like I said before, there was nothing, now there is something. Looks pretty nice. But it basically works as a lethal version of the Trank gun. Only ammunition is slightly harder to find. It has some great damage potential, that's nice. But the important thing is that the shots do fall the same way Trank shots do, because it's also subsonic. Anyway, I'm not going to kill the gangers with it, so I'm just going to hand it over to Jenny.
Did you get everything? We have to get that son of a bitch, Jensen.
I think I have everything.
Excellent, Jensen. I knew I could trust you. You identified the shipment completely unnoticed, and my guys got their hands on Double T. Awesome job. What else you got?
I think O'Malley's plan was to start a controlled gang war between the Derelict Row Ballers and the Motor City Bangers. You might want to check into that.
Really? Alright, I'll keep that in mind when I review all the evidence.
You can keep the crossbow, but I don't want to keep it.
Here's the weapon used in the dealer's murder. Hope you can make good use of it.
You bet, big boy. I've got a feeling O'Malley's guy will become a lot more receptive to interrogation once he knows I can pin this murder on him.
I paid a little B&E visit to O'Malley's apartment. There was a second shipment of weapons, government issue. I don't know how he got his hands on that type of hardware, but the man's got reach.
Great work. Found something else?
I found a stash of illegal drugs. Not much, but enough to get him convicted.
Good. The more dirt we dig up on that asshole, the better our chances to put him away for good. Got anything else?
I managed to hack into his personal account. I think you might want to check any connection O'Malley has with FEMA. There's definitely something going on there.
My God, Jensen. With all you've uncovered, you've probably provided us with months of legal investigation. What's next? You're gonna tell me you found proof he's got free satellite TV?
No, that about covers it.
Well, that's it. You did a great job. Here's the stuff I promised you. We've got more than enough to nail him now, and I want to make a move before that son of a bitch gets wise. But I ain't got no backup, and I doubt he'll go down peacefully. You've already done the bulk of the job. You want to put the finishing touches on yourself?
Sure.
It'll be my pleasure.
Perfect. My contact tells me O'Malley's gone back to his apartment. Go get him. I'll be waiting for you in the alley near the building once you've taken care of that scumbag.
Oh, whoops. I had the crossbow equipped, so... Alright.
Satisfaction guaranteed, or you get another try.
Nice. 10 per clip. And now we're back at O'Malley's, where we have one final chance to screw everything up for Jenny Alexander.
Mr. Jensen. Don't know why I didn't recognize you the first time. Here to make sure your treachery is complete.
Really?
Treachery? You lie, steal, murder, manipulate, and cheat on a daily basis. Men like you shouldn't even be allowed to use the word treachery.
Your little outburst is quite amusing, Mr. Jensen. I didn't mean any of it as an insult.
Whatever. I'm here to arrest you. I strongly suggest you consider a peaceful resolution.
I'm afraid I won't be able to comply, Mr. Jensen. But allow me to make you a different offer.
I'm listening.
I don't resent you for what you did. You played your cards and alliances well, and it's something I can respect. Still, it doesn't mean that I accept defeat. I'm willing to transfer to you a rather enviable sum in exchange for my freedom.
Interesting note here. He gives you 5,000 credits and a bottle of wine at your apartment. It's a nice little touch. And you don't lose anything for accepting. You get the same amount of experience, I mean.
I don't think so. No more games. You're going down.
So be it.
But still, I think this is worth 5,000 credits. Don't you? Choices like that, moral choices, do affect the ending, but only in a very marginal way. It's, not very satisfying, but it does have an impact, which I think is kind of nice, you know, as far as that goes.
So? What happened?
He looked a bit tired and it made him grumpy. He's asleep now. All that's left to do is go in there and cuff him.
I've always liked your style, Jensen. I know I've said it a couple of times already, but thanks. You've done a really good thing today. It's been a pleasure working with you again. Just like old times, eh? Good luck with... well, whatever it is your cute ass is working on these days. You did a good thing, Jensen. Once a good cop, always a good cop, huh? You did the community and the precinct proud.
I'm in private security. But before we go, there is one other thing I wanted to show off. I'll just need to get up to a nice high position here to demonstrate it. Yes, I think missed. Trying to get up onto the top of the telephone pole here. It's actually possible to do so, which is kind of neat. There we go. So here's the thing. In case you were wondering, you know, because maybe it'll come up. Yes. The cars do explode. Just gotta shoot it enough times to do enough damage to set it on fire, and... what do you know? It's transferred on to the next one. And of course it spooks the punks. Uh-oh. You guys might want to back off from that flaming cars, dudes. Ooh. Yeah. That definitely spooked all of the punks around here. And incidentally, you can trick the punks into attacking the MCBers. Or wait, the other guys.
There's something going on here.
Derelict Row. The guys in Derelict Row. Anyway, you may have noticed, by the way, that they aren't attacking me. They don't suspect me, even though they've been alerted. because they didn't see me with my gun out shooting things. It's a neat little touch. But they are effectively still on my side.
What the hell is going on here?
Also, another touch. Dead guys don't show up on your see-through walls radar. So, let me explain how these next few cyberpunk corners are going to work. During the first two cycles, I described the origins of both the literary and the visual design of cyberpunk in the early 80s. However, cyberpunk is a lot more present than what you see in a lot of other science fiction subgenres. It makes fewer assumptions about what the future is going to be like, partly because it takes place much sooner than other genres like space opera, and partly because it assumes that people are going to be the same miserable assholes that we are today. As such, the next few cycles are going to jump ahead by about a decade each to take a look at a then-new author and the popular book that made their career to see just how the spirit of the times changes the nature of cyberpunk. As such, today's subject is Neal Stephenson's Snow Crash. About the author. Let me start by making a quick comparison. William Gibson is an ex-hippie and punk in name only who just happened to get into science fiction and happened to help invent the cyberpunk genre because he was a great writer and he decided to tap into the popular science fads of the early 80s. Neal Stephenson, on the other hand, is a dyed-in-the-wool nerd. A man whose parents worked in electrical engineering and biochemistry, and who would have gotten himself a physics degree if he hadn't been sidetracked by the emerging field of computer science in the late 1970s. Of course, Stephenson also got sidetracked by a budding writing career, which got its official start in 1984 when he published his first novel, The Big U. It wasn't all that popular, and neither was his second novel, Zodiac. But his third, now that's why we're here today. Snow Crash, published in 1992, was originally envisioned as a graphic novel, a collaboration between Stephenson and an artist named Tony Sheeter, who would have used computer-generated images to illustrate the action. However, the plan fell through, as they more often than not do, and so Stephenson salvaged the characters and the plot and adapted them into a book. Incidentally, this project also required both Stephenson and Sheeter to basically create their own programs for a Macintosh, because these were the old days, when if you wanted to do anything unusual on a computer, you had to design the software for it yourself. While Snow Crash wasn't the beginning of Stephenson's writing career, it was the point at which he became a relatively famous author. The book combines a lot of disparate elements like Sumerian history and virtual reality, going into depth on each topic as if to prove how much of a nerd Stephenson really is. At the same time, he sets the book in a privatized, extreme future that really only the early 90s could have dreamed up. This book really is a product of its time, but I'll be getting more into that once I begin the analysis. And before then, I should really explain the story. The book begins with a pizza delivery. Oh, but this isn't any ordinary pizza delivery, oh no. This is a Cosa Nostra pizza delivery. Cosa Nostra being a legitimate business openly owned by the Sicilian-American Mafia, and Uncle Enzo, its leader. This is also a pizza delivery taking place after the United States government has almost completely collapsed and privatized everything aside from a few limited enclaves. The US routes are owned by one company, the interstates are operated by another, and the entities considered sovereign states now include commercial franchulettes, residential burbclaves, and the occasional foreign government foothold, like Nova Sicilia, New South Africa, which only lets white people in, and Mr. Lee's Greater Hong Kong. As such, Cosa Nostra pizza cars are built like tanks, and the company takes a lot of pride in delivering pizzas in 30 minutes or less. One day, a Cosa Nostra deliverator who goes by Hero Protagonist Hiro spelled like the Japanese name, so Hiro, he gets a 20-minute pizza and has to rush out to deliver it. However, a skateboard courier, spelled with a K because this was the 90s, latches onto his car for a ride, and so he gets distracted and takes a wrong turn into an empty pool. Hiro is worried that he's going to get whacked by the mob for his failure, and so the courier, who goes by the initials YT, offers to finish his job for him. Hiro is grateful enough that he hands her a business card with his name on it that reads Last of the Freelance Hackers, Greatest Sword Fighter in the World, and Stringer, Central Intelligence Corporation, which means his day job is collecting information for a now privatized CIA. YT makes the delivery, saving Hiro's life and keeping Uncle Enzo from having to make a personal appearance. She gets hassled by some medicops soon after, so she calls up Hiro to cash in her favor, and they escape to the local Greater Hong Kong franchulette. Hiro gets in without a hitch since his citizenship dues are up to date, but their armed pursuers are thwarted thanks to a rat thing, a cybernetic dog that can disarm people at the speed of sound. However, the rat thing gets injured by a grenade blast, and so YT saves its life by dragging it back into its high-tech hutch. After that, she and Hiro decide to become partners in information collection. Time passes, and Hiro is hanging out on the metaverse, which is basically a VR version of the internet. You don't jack in, though. You just put on a pair of VR goggles and wave your hands around. Hiro is actually pretty well off as far as his online assets go, since he was one of the guys who helped program the metaverse in the first place, but some bad luck kept him from getting much money for it, hence becoming a pizza deliverator. Anyway, Hiro goes online and heads to the Black Sun, an online hangout operated by his friend and former boss, Defivid. There's a 5 where the V should be. I'm just going to call him David. Hiro also discovers his old flame there, Juanita. After some awkward small talk, she warns him that something strange is going on. She tells him to meet a friend of hers named Lagos, and she hands him a card that says Babel in Focalypse, which incidentally downloads a gigantic program onto his computer. Hiro then speaks with David, who recently got a different card called Snow Crash from a weird guy standing outside. The guy claimed it was an online drug, which is about as crazy in-universe as it is to us, but David gives it a try and a generic avatar appears, holding out a scroll with a black and white static screen on it. Nothing happens at first, but a few minutes later, David's avatar starts malfunctioning, and in real life, he goes effectively brain dead. Anyway, Hiro doesn't know any of that just yet, and so as he heads out to arrange a nuclear fuzz grunge concert, Hiro discovers that Juanita gave him a copy of the Library of Congress, along with an extremely advanced AI designed to search it. Not only that, the AI also has records of Lagos' research. Now, starting at this point, the book basically parcels out the backstory over the next 24 chapters, but I'm just gonna dump it all right here and now. So, a guy named L. Bob Reif, obvious take on Scientology's L. Ron Hubbard, controlled the majority of the world's cable internet connections, and he was also a control freak who wants to make sure that the programmers he employs don't spill his company's secrets. One day, Lagos contacted him, since he had discovered something about ancient Sumerian. Specifically, that Sumerian is actually humanity's firmware language, and, up until a few thousand years ago, humans didn't think for themselves so much as they were commanded by priest kings to do things as if they were computers obeying a programming language. But then a man named Enki came up with a command, a Namshub, which made Sumerian unintelligible and fragmented our language into the hundreds we speak today. This was the Babel event, recounted in the Bible. When he learned about this, Reif realized that with modern technology, he could use Sumerian to take over the world. So he developed a 3-pronged approach to reach the world's population. He first invested in Reverend Wayne's Pearly Gates, a chain of Pentecostal evangelicals, Pentecost being the Christian sect that speaks in tongues, and tongues being ancient Sumerian secretly. He then created the drug Snow Crash, which is cocaine mixed with the blood of a convert, since blood is another transmission vector. Finally, for the technocrats too smart to go for either one, he created the Online Snow Crash, a binary bitmap that will crash your brain if you look at it, and can read binary. Oh yes, and Rife also bought the American aircraft carrier the Enterprise back when the States were having a big fire sale, and turned it into the Raft, a place where Asian refugees could strap their boats together in the hopes of riding the ocean currents to America. During the years-long trip over, Rife has infected everyone on board, and he plans to unleash his unwitting army on what passes for American soil as soon as they reach the California coastline. When he realized what Elbab Rife was up to, Lagos had a change of heart and enlisted the help of people who would want to stop him and keep the Sumerian brain hack a secret. These allies included Uncle Enzo of Nova Sicilia, Mr. Lee of Greater Hong Kong, and Juanita, a master programmer who had recently trained with Jesuits. But getting back to the actual plot, Hiro meets up with Lagos during the show. They aren't able to say much, however, because at that point, Raven shows up. Raven is a tremendously big Aleut, an indigenous people who live in Alaska, and he's got the words "poor impulse control" tattooed across his forehead. Oh, and he also has a hydrogen warhead in his motorcycle's sidecar that's set to explode if he dies. He's there to sell Snow Crash to the local Crips and kill Lagos, and he succeeds at doing both. Meanwhile, Uncle Enzo arranges to meet with YT in Compton, where Nova Sicilia is reclaiming the streets from the bloodthirsty Colombian gangs. Enzo is impressed with YT's skill and initiative, and he employs her to help him and Mr. Lee steal a sample of the drug version of Snow Crash. Hiro gets dragged in further when he discovers that David has lost his mind, and Juanita will be heading off to infiltrate the Raft, and also because he keeps reading Lagos' notes. He and YT spend most of the middle of the book working out the mystery, but eventually Hiro decides to head to the Raft to rescue Juanita. At the same time, the US government remnant captures YT and abducts her to the Raft because it turns out that they're working with Elbab Rife. She gets brainwashed a bit on the trip over, but she snaps out of it before too long. Hiro's attempts to reach the Raft don't go according to plan, and so he and a few mafioso end up adrift at sea for a while. But they eventually come across a pirate gang. The mafia lieutenant, known only as Fisheye, promises Hiro that the pirates will listen to Reason, and he turns out to be right, because Reason turns out to be the name of his nuclear-powered compact railgun. They steal one of the pirates' boats and reach the Raft, but at that point everyone dies except for Hiro, who has been using his authentic Japanese swords to defend himself. During a lull in the fighting, he manages to grab Reason and run, and he later uses it to blast a hole in the wall of the aircraft carrier and start killing his way up to the flight deck. While all this is happening, Raven notices YT on the Raft and decides to take her on a date. She is 15 years old, by the way, and half Raven's age. And the date ends with sex, and then Raven falls asleep because he got hit by a needle in YT's vagina that was full of powerful tranquilizers. So that happened, and YT makes her escape, but she's eventually captured again and brought to Rafe's helicopter to act as a hostage. However, this helicopter is also where Rafe is keeping the Sumerian tablet with the inoculation Namshub on it, so she kicks it out of the door to where Hiro is waiting as the helicopter takes off. At this point, Juanita shows back up. Rife made her part of his living cybernetic communications array, but thanks to her religious training, she broke out of his control. So Hiro uses his computer to reconstruct the broken Sumerian tablet, follows Juanita to the ship's communications center, and uses it to reenact the Babel event and free the Raft from Rife's control. But that's not the end of things. See, the US government also created what's basically a nuclear version of the online Snow Crash virus, and so Hiro has to chase Raven through the metaverse to prevent him from setting it off at David's online benefit concert, which of course all the hackers are attending. Hiro doesn't manage to stop him, but he does manage to disarm the nuke with a custom-made antivirus program. Finally, YT manages to get away from Elbab Reif when her fellow couriers latch on to his low-flying helicopter with their electromagnetic tow lines. Meanwhile, Uncle Enzo is waiting for Reif in person at LAX, but then Raven shows up and kills his men before fighting Enzo directly. Now, the outcome of their fight isn't made completely clear, but in the end, Reif dies when the rat thing YT helped earlier attacks Reif's plane at Mach 1. And that's how the book ends. The analysis. There's a lot to unpack about Snow Crash, but let me first say this. This book is a comedy. It is a straight-faced, absurdist comedy, where part of the joke is the way it takes itself completely seriously. I've said before that no science fiction book is a true prediction of the future, but Snow Crash doesn't even try to pretend like it's a real possibility. It does describe a few interesting ideas that sound familiar to a modern audience, but that's mostly thanks to Stevenson being a computer nerd extrapolating on current trends. The World Wide Web was just taking off in 1992 after all, and Usenet had been around for a decade. Instead, what we have is a future which is even more 90s than the 90s. Skateboarding punks are everywhere, grunge subgenres are still all the rage, all the adolescent boys are taking steroids, literally every business is a franchise. Everybody lives either in planned communities so gated that they're sovereign territory, or else in dangerous anarchic ghettos. Hyperinflation has rendered US currency worthless, virtual reality is the obvious future of computer interfaces, and hackers rule an internet populated mostly by other hackers, cultural elites, and Japanese businessmen. Excuse me. Nipponese salarymen. Apparently, Japan's cultural influence has extended to the point where the Japanese name for themselves has caught on, even though we still don't call German people Deutschlanders. But really, all the 90s stuff is set dressing for the real heart of the book, which is the convergence of language, DNA, viruses, and computers. Saying that Snow Crash takes liberties with facts is kind of an understatement, on par with saying that Foucault's Pendulum was a light-hearted romp through Templar history. But it does have a point that there are similarities underpinning computer code, DNA sequences, and linguistic grammar. In each case, there are certain basic building blocks that must be present for anything built on them to make any sense. Ones and zeros, the two pairs of nucleobases, and the deoxyribose ladders they build on. The sounds our mouths make, and the very concept of nouns, verbs, and adjectives. From each of these bases, you can create an effectively infinite number of words, and thus each language offers an immense opportunity for creativity and construction, or immense oppression and destruction when misused to create viruses. And while this seems like an obvious point to make now in 2016, you have to remember that Snow Crash came out 24 years ago. The Human Genome Project was 11 years away from mapping out our basic gene sequence. Computers were starting to appear in offices, but most people still didn't know how to use them for anything besides data entry, word processing, and the occasional graphic adventure game. There weren't many people in 1992 who realized just how much potential there was in computing and genetic manipulation, but if anyone could see it, it would be a writer whose parents were an electrical engineer and a biochemist. There is one other thing that's particularly noteworthy about Snow Crash, and that would be the racial diversity of the cast. Hero protagonist is the son of an African-American career soldier and a Korean woman. YT is a European-American, whose name is often mistaken for Whitey. Raven is a native Alaskan, who probably has some Russian blood in him. Juanita is Hispanic. David is Jewish. Uncle Enzo is Sicilian-American. Mr. Lee is Chinese. and his cybersecurity expert is a Vietnamese man named Ing. The main villains, on the other hand, are a southern man whose last name is Germanic in origin, and the United States government, both of whom want to turn humans into machines, incapable of any more individuality or creativity than what their jobs demand. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this earlier, but we get a glimpse into the way the US government works in Snow Crash, and it's basically a 1984 nightmare where employee loyalty is constantly tested and monitored, and the low-level workers aren't allowed to know anything about what they're doing. And while it is true that Raven works for their side, it's only because he wants an opportunity to drop a nuke on the United States, because the government tested nuclear weapons on the Aleutian Islands in the 1960s. As such, the book's characters reinforce the theme of expanding creativity and add a warning that these languages are powerful tools that can let you do and say anything, but there are forces out there that want to restrict access and use these tools to limit expression rather than expand it. Thanks for joining me again in Cyberpunk Corner, and for next week's video, I have an audio clue.